T-minus 90 seconds and counting. All systems are go. We're about 90 seconds from the launch of Space Shuttle Discovery. T-minus 60 seconds and counting. We are transferring to orbiter internal power at this time. Discovery is now running off its 3 onboard fuel cells. Coming up on a go for auto sequence start. And we have a go for auto sequence start. Discovery's onboard computers have primary control of all the vehicle's critical functions. T-minus 17 seconds and counting. 15, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, start, 2, 1, booster ignition, and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Discovery, returning to the space station, paving the way for future missions beyond.
Discovery's onboard computers commanding the main engine nozzles to swivel, aiming the shuttle for its precise target in space for main engine cutoff.
You have a good forward leg now in Okay, you sound good. Discovery Houston, negative return. Copy, a negative return.
Everybody's losing their mind on the same old radio. We got nowhere to be, got nowhere to go. All you gotta do is relax and take it slow. Believe me, son, life gets better when you slow your roll. It's gonna be a good day. It's gonna be a good day. Summer clouds, they always seem to roll on up. When they show up, they just got enough of a good vibe I can see up ahead in the sky. That's where I find my little peace of mind. Yeah, yeah. It's gonna be a good day. It's gonna be a good day. Yeah. When my time comes and they lay me in the ground, I hope nobody's feeling sad or down. No, no. I lived a damn good life and left my mark on this town. Yeah, yeah. Even though I won't be here, I'll always be around. Oh. It's gonna be a good day. 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 Yeah. When my time comes and they lay me in the ground, I hope nobody's feeling sad or down. No, no.
When the night's getting cold, you're needing a shoulder. Puff out your chest and be a little bolder. All we do is we buy and hold. There will be shills who wanna steal your thrills. There will be friends who hold till the end. There will be doubt, fear and cloud, but it's all in your head. Those hedgies are dead. Panic and fear really are near, but it's not ours to own. We have shown that all we do is buy and hold. Oh, there will be shills who wanna steal your thrills, and there will be friends who hold till the end, and there will be doubt, fear and cloud, but it's all in your head. Those hedgies are dead. So when the night's getting colder, you're needing that shoulder. These apes got your back, we got each other. All we do is we buy and hold. Good morning, you filthy apes. Welcome to AMC and with Casey. This is where we like to buy, hold, and screw those hedgies. Screw them! That's right. This is where we like to fling some poo and eat crayons for breakfast. Rock strong.
Oh man, I screwed up the intro again. I'm gonna have to say it like a few times, like over and over and over to get used to saying it the new way, because obviously it's just not set in just yet, just right for me. I'm still wanting to say APE. Let's see here. So, how many times did you practice that intro in the mirror over the weekend? Zero. I haven't practiced it at all. It was pretty bad. Let's see here. So the title for the day today is AMC's 1 for 7.5 settlement shares. Today is the day where the distribution of those shares is supposed to occur. Evergrande, that doesn't mean, by the way, that's not, doesn't necessarily mean that those shares are going to show up in your account today. Some brokers might take a little bit longer than others for whatever possible reasons there may be. But yeah, Evergrande is showing some signs of life, or maybe not, and a forward look at what's going to happen in the market in the future, or at least what I think. What I think a lot of signs are pointing towards. Let's see here. So starting with the Evergrande, by the way, the one for every 7.5 shares of AMC that you have, I feel like we've gone over it numerous and numerous times. All you would have needed to have done is knowing how many AMC shares you had originally, divide by 10, then divide by 7.5, and that's how much settlement shares you should get. Or you can just look at how many shares you're being reported as having now. Well, actually, that's not true. You would have had to have looked on Thursday at how many shares you had reported of AMC divided by 7.5, and that's how many shares for the settlement you would have received. If you look at your AMC shares now, it's going to be converted. Ape has been converted over to AMC, so that wouldn't. You can't just take that number divide by 7.5. Let's see here. Taking a look at this news article here, I'm just pulling this up off of. I don't know what this is. I'm not sure what website this is. Hong Kong, China Evergrande Group shares plunged 79% on Monday, their first trading day following a suspension of more than 17 months. It's been a while since we've talked about Evergrande. Shares in the embattled real estate developer opened 87% lower and ended the day at 0.35 Hong Kong dollars. Trading had been halted since March 21st of 2022, when shares were priced at $1.65. Evergrande was the most traded stock in Hong Kong on Monday, with about 1.85 billion shares changing hands. Evergrande said the same day that a meeting with creditors to discuss offshore debt restructuring had been pushed back from Monday to September 26th. Remember that date, September 26th. It cited various reasons for the delay, including numerous media reports which have wholly mischaracterized the restructuring recognition under Chapter 15 of the U.S. Bankruptcy Code. The company filed for bankruptcy protection in a New York court on August 17th. Evergrande was once China's largest real estate developer, but defaulted on a number of debt obligations, leaving homeowners with unfinished homes and suppliers with unpaid bills. The company applied for their trading suspension to be lifted on Friday evening after it had said it had cleared various conditions set by the Hong Kong Exchange, including the release of financial reports. The result for the first 6 months of the year were announced Sunday night, with the company reporting a net loss of 33.01 billion yuan, or 4.53 billion US, better than 66.35 billion won loss a year ago. The distressed developer also posted long overdue annual earning reports for the last 2 years on August 16th, revealing a combined net loss of 581.94 billion won, a reversal from 8.07 billion won in net profit in 2020 prior to crackdown by Beijing on the industry. I'm not going to continue to read through this. There's a lot of information to go through here. Yeah, that's probably where I'll stop reading on that. But I want you to remember that date, that specifically, which I had planned on talking to you guys about what I plan to talk to you about right now, next, the future of our market. Ever since this weekend, I was going to post up some pictures in my technical analysis chart, but never did that. But I'm gonna cover it with you. I just decided I was going to cover it with you guys here. But I want you to remember that September 26th date, though. I think that's kind of important. That we're getting released a date towards the end of September here. Let me pull up one other thing here. think this should be what I want right here. 2023 options expiration calendar. And I want September. Okay. Where are the quarterlies? The quarterlies should be... This is not the same website that I had used previously, and I kind of like the other one that I had pulled up before, but I had to reboot my computer. Let me see if I can find the other one real quick here. If this next link that I'm looking at is not the correct one, then I'll just go back to the one I had just a second ago and just use that instead. But what I'm going to pull up here is September. Previously in the historicals, if you go back and you look at a lot of periods of time where you've seen recessions, some of the biggest recessions hitting, it happens to be in the September timeframe. Oh, good. This is the one I was looking for. Sweet. So let me take you guys over here to the other page for just a second, and I want to show you this. This is for September options expiration calendar. And there's some important dates in here. Now remember, the one I just told you to remember is September 26th, which is going to be a Tuesday. It's the last Tuesday or last week of the September month. There's something showing up on the 11th here called equity leaps that have been added. On the 14th, we have monthly AM settled index options, and they cease trading on the 14th. The monthly equity index and cash settlement currency options expiration date and PM settled index options cease trading on the 15th. On the 20th, monthly volatility products expiration date, and then quarterly expiration date, meaning that all the quarterly expirations for the year are expiring on the 29th. So September happens to be this really kind of interesting quarterly positional change that occurs in the marketplace where anybody who might be distressed on some of their positions are going to have to close those out and perhaps open up new positions. There's going to be a lot of positions changing hands here, more than likely, especially, I mean, kind of depending on what happens going forward, but I think there's going to be some good volatility that probably happens over the next couple weeks here as we kind of enter into the end portion of the month. Now, why do I state that, or what can I use to back that up with? And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take you to, I think I'll take you first to VIX. Now, I'm going to go back in time here. We're going to go back just a little bit, not a whole lot. We're going to go back to, let's go back to 2020. One of the things that happened with VIX just before, perhaps, I guess, exploding due to COVID, and the explosion of VIX occurring really on 2/21 of 2020. I think everybody knew at that point that we were in a pandemic, and so there was no mistake of what was really kind of happening at that point in time, so it makes sense. Breaking past 35 is that point of no return. When it breaks past 35 and just keeps on moving, the market's in trouble. So it was trading and trending downwards. You can see this very long trend line here for quite a period of time, probably going back to about 2018, February of 2018, so like 2 years prior. There's this trend line that you can see that's being drawn down here, and multiple touching points where VIX kind of consolidated underneath 16. And once it broke past 16, and it broke past significantly, it really just kept on taking off. And you can see that there was a little bit of a trend that was going on at that time prior to breaking above it. Notice that it broke down below the, this is a little bit of a wedge pattern that's created here. It broke down below the wedge, which I would expect to be the case because this is, anytime you've got a steep incline wedge, it usually does break down below. It broke down below that and the 16 value and then took off. Now, this is before COVID. I'm going to drive back just a little bit further here. We're going to go back to we're going to go back to 2000. Let's see here. 2000. It's going to be right about here. Is it 2000 I wanted to go to? Yeah. Same kind of similar thing, except for it never actually got below 16. But notice where it started to form a wedge, and this is in 2002. I guess the really big portion of it would have been right here. Same thing. You got a little bit of a wedge kind of going right here. It breaks down below and then starts taking off once it rips past 35. It's all over. Market crash, market recession. Multiple times. You move back forward to 2008. Very similar wedge that occurred right here under 16. Price moved up the wedge. This time it actually broke to the top side of the wedge, which was kind of interesting, and then it kind of consolidated in here for quite a while. We did have a little bit of a downtrend in here and a retest of multiple times on 16 before taking off and really moving up above 35. So I want to take now. I'm going to take you to current moment in time, and I think we're kind of moving into that same kind of pattern that I showed you going into COVID, where we've got a breakdown below 16, and then we have a bit of a wedge that's being created here. I know some of these lines are going to be confusing here. I have a time extension Fibonacci set up as well as a wedge that's right here. And I have a feeling what's going to happen is the prices, or not price, but the value of VIX is going to be moving upwards. And I think we're going to get, at some point, I think price is going to retest 16 and break down below this wedge. And it'll break down below 16. Now, if VIX is going down, that means the market should be going up. And this is where I suggested to you guys that we would see a melt up to about 450 or maybe even higher on the SPY before seeing a melt down. And so I think that we're going to see this move here. So when do I project that it's possible that we might start seeing the VIX heading back the other direction? Well, these time Fibonacci's really kind of help to show where there may be significant changes. And so in this particular time Fibonacci, the date right here happens to be 10/3 for the next change. Basically like the beginning of October. Now notice most of the changes, when they do occur, sometimes occur a little bit beforehand, not always. Sometimes they occur right on. Sometimes they don't really occur at all. Like this period in here didn't really move a whole lot in here, but there were changes that you could see some volatility occurring right beforehand, and then right at the time Fibonacci, it did start spiking up here, and so I'm thinking that this is pretty much projecting that there's going to be a dip down in here, and then the reversal occurring around that 10/3 date range. So what else do we have that could potentially show us futures in the market? What about the US dollar? Where is it heading towards? So we've got an interesting pattern here on the US dollar, where again, please ignore a lot of my drawings in here, but we have this pretty I put in a bold red line a wedge that we were in, and we broke down below that wedge, then above the wedge. I think this is really just kind of a lot of volatility, and I might change this a little bit to be more of a descending wedge than necessarily a sideways wedge, but I don't really feel like these were significant breakouts here. Maybe this one kind of, sort of, but not really. I think the breakout's coming in this time frame. I think what's going to end up happening is I think the US dollar is going to turn back around. We're going to see upwards momentum in the market. I think there's a very strong push to keep the US dollar rated around 102, where this big thick white line is, 102. And I think what's going to happen is this price is come back down to of the US dollar down to about 102, and then we're going to get this breakout in this box area in here, where the US dollar is going to absolutely start ripping. Well, what's the time frame on my box? 10/4 to 11/2. So those dates are kind of matching up as well. Why 102? Why 102? There's been significant levels of support and resistance found at 102 from the past, and I think that as I scroll into some of these points in here, I think you can see that there's been a lot of trending off of 102, and I think it's a very significant point, centering point for the US dollar, where once it gets retested one more time, we're going to see a retest of 102 and then a takeoff. So how about oil? Usually oil price likes to move with the market. I haven't really looked at this one, but I think we should. Oil, not too long ago, did break out of a very steep descending wedge. Very, very steep descending wedge. Now, this usually moves with the market, so if price of oil is going to go up, I would expect the market to go up with it. There was a small head and shoulders on a smaller time frame, inverted head and shoulders that played out, and we did see higher movement on this. I think this is going to break. I'm not sure exactly what significant point. It's more than likely this rising level of resistance. But when this does break through that rising level of resistance on oil and we see oil prices shooting way, way up, I think the market's going to go moving with it. And let's take a look at the market as a whole. Let's take a look at SPY. Could SPY retest 450? So 450 is right about at this line right here. It's been a key level of support and resistance from the past that you can see. And I think the idea here for me is that I think we are trending upwards. Where would this, if I were to maybe kind of draw a line from some of our more current bottoms that we've seen, where could I expect maybe perhaps to see price maybe perhaps hitting that 450 point? Remember, I leaving out just the tip. Look at that. If I take this to a 4-hour chart, let's see, maybe we could see it a little bit better. So 450 is going to be this line right here, right above the yellow line, leaving out just the tip here. We'll probably leave it on about that much right there. The time span on this is somewhere between 919 and 926. And I don't think this is going to move. I mean, it could break out to the top of 950. I don't have a problem with that. And that would actually end up making, if we were to retest 950 a couple times and then break out north of 950 before my box, I think it's going to hit some kind of level of resistance, maybe around, it could be as high as 460. I really don't know how high it's going to be, but I have a feeling it's going to just absolutely melt back down. And that time frame is coming up. There's a lot of money flowing into stocks like, and I don't usually talk about them, but Nvidia. A lot of money is flowing into a lot of these, what I would consider to be safe havens for institutional money. And I call it a safe haven because more than likely that's where they hold their collateral against positions that they hold in the market. And that money flow, in order to prop those positions up, in order for them to hold the collateral that they need to continue to maintain the positions that they have and not have failures in the marketplace, I think it's being held in crypto. So all the money that they need in order to maintain is sitting here. And if I take a look at just Bitcoin, of course, there's lots of different cryptocurrencies available that's holding some of this equity that's needed for collateral. If I take a look at Bitcoin, we had this head and shoulder pattern that was forming. It did some really weird 28-day pause for whatever reason on the head and shoulder, which isn't what was supposed to happen, but I did move my numbers over a little bit to reflect that 28-day pause in consolidation, the consolidation period, which actually it should have been the breakdown period, and it ended up being a consolidation period of 28 days. And so I moved my bar over to where I think that consolidation is going to occur until the end of this head and shoulders is 9/22, which all these dates are very, very, very close to each other. They're all pointing towards something big coming in the marketplace. Every single one of them. It's not just Bitcoin. It's not just VIX. It's not just oil. It's not just the dollar. It's all of them. Every single one of those is pointing at something happening towards the end of this next month. Do your own research. Go back and look at historical numbers and times and dates in the marketplace and when the market tends to have massive failures. See if it doesn't line up. The end of September being this massive problem period. But I think it is. And I'm expecting a lot of the collateral funds needed to maintain positions to liquidate out of cryptocurrencies by the end of next month. And when that happens, there's probably going to be a lot of turmoil. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see because we're getting there. I also put up a message in my Discord. Let me see if I can find it. I tried to pin it. I don't know what happens when it pins. I don't know if it goes to the top or how that works out exactly. Okay, I'm scrolling back up here. Apparently it did not. It's not where I would expect to see it. I'm just going to read to you one specific portion of it because I really think it's the part that probably needs to be said the most. Unknowns ahead. And in regards to AMC, we don't know the impact of how the settlement shares will have on the stock price today, but I wouldn't necessarily expect to see an increase in price, and I don't exactly think the AMC dilution will cause price to rise initially either. In fact, I think it'll actually drop the price. We may be able to calculate what a bottom might look like should the market try to price in both settlement shares and dilution by using the same current price per share and calculating what price would need to be in order to keep the same market cap based off of our closing on Friday. And based on my calculations, that would be around $10.38. This would be another drop of around 17.4% by the time dilution is completed. I can't possibly tell you how Adam Aron plans on selling shares into the marketplace, when he plans on selling them, or how long he plans on taking to sell them. That's of no, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me how long that's going to take, but I do expect there to be some downwards momentum initially. I do think that there will be some upwards momentum afterwards or following, but I think we've probably got we got a little bit more pain here. And I know it sucks. I know it really sucks watching the price move down, but it doesn't change anything other than the fact of what you're seeing in your account, and that's it. And I've gotten lots and lots of different messages from people who are discouraged because they keep looking at their account numbers and they're discouraged by what it is that they're seeing in their account numbers. And all I can say is those aren't realized losses until you sell. So I can't change the fact that it sucks, but it's always been that, right? It's always been a matter of how can they get us to sell our positions. And the only way that they can elicit any kind of emotions in us in order to get a reaction is to change price. That's the only thing that it is that they have. That's their one weapon against us. So I can tell you that a lot of this price movement is just to elicit a reaction to see if they can get you to sell your position. I don't think anything's changed. I think this is still a great company. And I want to share one more thing with you. Just one more. Because I know I'm already like 17 minutes past my time to start doing numbers. But let me share one more thing with you. David versus Goliath actually posted this. I had seen it prior to his post, but this was originally posted by Brian Feroldi. And I'm just going to share this with you guys because I think this is relevant to what it is that's happening to us and things that you should remember. Number 1, dollar cost averaging makes market timing irrelevant. Number 2, Cash short-term safe but long-term risky. Stocks short-term risky but long-term safe. As the amount of risk that you have on a current newer position becomes less risk as you hold over time. Cash and bonds, the exact opposite. Expect the market to play all kinds of mind tricks on your emotions. A lot of people, you go from $10 to $20 and everybody's jumping up and down going, yeah, we're winning. And then, you know, in this next example here, it shows it going up from 10 to 30, then down to 20. It's like people are going, why? Yeah, it's like, nah, man. It's it's the same thing. It's only meant to cause a reaction or an emotion, right? That's it. That's the only reason that the price does what it does, is to elicit a reaction or an emotion out of you. Watch the business, not the stock. The stock is moving all over the place. In our particular case, I'm going to show you another one here in just a second that's doing the exact opposite. Our stock is doing the exact opposite, but the business, watch what the business is doing. And we are doing this. Our business is moving up like this. Buy damaged stocks, avoid damaged companies. This is us. Our stock, our company is moving up in revenue. Our stock price is moving down. This is what you want to buy. This, avoid damaged companies where revenue is decreasing and stock price is going down. That's what you avoid. Saying I'll be greedy when others are fearful in a bull market is easy. Being greedy when others are fearful is damn hard. Can't wait for a pullback. It's too risky to invest now. Historic odds of making money in the S&P 500 by holding period. 1 day, make money, lose money, 50-50. 1 year, make money versus lose money, it's 66 to 33. 10 years, make money to lose money, it's almost like a 90% win rate. And 20 years, more than likely, you're just going to be making money no matter what. Market tends to move up over time. Developing the right mindset is 95% of investing success. Hooray, my net worth went up. That's what people say when they see this. Hooray, my favorite stocks are on sale. How many of you guys are saying that? How many? Planning is useful, but the real world never matches a spreadsheet. This is what you're expecting to see, and the reality is something different. These are all really good things to kind of keep in mind as you're looking at the position that you're holding. Zoom out when in doubt. This is what the chart looks like. Days, months, years, decades. I get this so often when people go like, they'll never have to cover. I love that one. I absolutely love when somebody comes into our community and says, they'll never have to cover. Have you guys heard that? And I would just simply say, oh yeah? Well, then you tell me what happened back here. What happened twice in 2 different times, 2 different instances where price shot massively upwards there? You're telling me that somebody didn't have to start buying, or is that the sign of somebody or you're just telling me that they just wanted to accidentally let it run up, right? Come on. It's not the truth. We're just not meeting the right conditions right now. And I think there's going to be more. There's going to be more downwards pressure on this price. They got to crush this as soon as possible. They got to keep Adam Aaron from raising money. All right. That's all I got for you guys. But I do need to move into looking at... I need to take a look at the numbers and see what we got going on here. Give me 1 second while I refresh this. Oh, please refresh. I have my phone charging. I forgot to charge it last night. And my coffee, I haven't had any coffee yet this morning. It's sitting in the coffee maker. I need to go grab it real quick. Hopefully I don't have to refresh this. I tried logging into my account earlier because I knew I was going to have problems having my phone on me. Let me take you guys over to the other page here and take a look at see what's happening. don't know if this is going to update. I might have to go log in real quick. Oh, maybe. It's doing something now. All right. Starting in the top left-hand side. I think. AMC closed at $12.43 on Friday. Okay, good. That's refreshed. Let's see here. $12.43. I had a prediction of 12 to 15. Apex had 983 to 1283, and Eric had 1150 to 1450. So I think technically Eric wins this one. Yeah, let me give Eric his bonus points. So big congratulations, Eric, for winning out the week. And let's see here. Let's take a look at what we got going on with the rest of the market. Starting with off exchange, or not off exchange, short exempt volume. Short exempt volume on AMC was 579.4 thousand shares. Somebody had mentioned, and thanks for mentioning it to me, that I needed to change my targets. I think I changed them already now on the page here, so we should be good to go. Obviously, it's only 300K now that we need to see for 3 days in a row. And I forgot to get rid of Ape on there. Forgive me for not getting rid of Ape. Can I get rid of it now? Hold on a second. Yes, I can. What does that do to the page? Hold on a second here. Let me fix this real fast. There we go. Let's see here. So we had a total of 579.4 thousand shares in short exempt volume. Utilization. Let's check it out real quick here. Now, I've been wondering what's going to happen to utilization with AMC. I don't think that everything is completely settled just yet. So I think utilization is going to be kind of jacked up here for a hot minute or two. I think that the market kind of needs to establish where everybody's at in their positions in order for it to really calculate correctly. But right now it's showing up at 57.52. It was only 22% as of Friday. So it's back up to 57.52. And I think that utilization will continue to climb. And then AMC was down on Friday 13.5%. The volume for that short exempt volume is well over the amount that we needed to have. And by the way, last week, I think we averaged I don't have the math in front of me right now. I'm pretty sure that our total amount of volume that we had in short exempt volume was pretty much like 4.4 million or higher. It might have been 4.7. You know what? I know what it was. It was 4.79. I remember now because I looked at the average 3-month volume that's being reported on Webull right now. Webull's reporting our average 3-month volume at 4.8 million shares. Of course, that's adjusted for the reverse split, which would be the equivalent of 48 million shares prior. And the interesting thing is that we were having our short exempt volume coming in at 4.79 in short exempt volume. I'm pretty certain that every single purchase order that went through this last week was on short exempt, meaning they filled positions with nothing. They literally reported that they had nothing to fill those positions with. So they're gonna have to find those shares at some given point or another, and it's gonna. I mean, it's 35 days is what the T35 is. That's gonna push us out to about first 2 weeks or so of. I think maybe it'll be the second or the third week of October. Cleaning my glasses real quick because I just realized I don't have them on yet. I think they're good. Let's check out Max Payne. I did a reboot this morning, so I think all those numbers are accurate right now. Max Payne is $4 to start off the week here. Let's take a look at off exchange. Wonder why it's predicting 4. Let me refresh it real quick one more time here just in case. I think it's looking at the ADJs. Yeah, okay, I just refreshed it. It's 450. I don't know. I think that's going to get updated again. I think that tomorrow we'll probably see a much drastic different number. Taking a look at off-exchange numbers, those are updated from last Friday. Our total amount of volume that went through off-exchange was 51.39%. EDGX was sitting at... hold on a second here, I'm going to move this. EDGX was at 9.82. The combined total was 61.21%, and that happened to be 2.79% less than what I would expect to see on a normal day. CHX volume was 24.4 thousand shares. I wouldn't get excited unless it was over 30,000. So it was a little low. GME CHX volume was only 208 shares. Taking a look at institutional ownership, and I'm not sure when Fintel's going to start reporting this accurately, but their reporting from last week was 154.411 million shares. There's no change in that. Let me just make sure that's a little bit okay. They're gonna have to start reporting that correctly once they start getting some. It could take a while. It might take a while for them to update and actually start reporting in the correct amount of shares based off of the reverse split. But I don't know if they're gonna have to wait for more filings to come through to fix that. But that should be fixed here. Still way off. Taking a look at some of the options right there, we do have, I pulled up the options this morning on Fidelity, and they do have options being reported again, and we've got, let's see here, two different chains. We have the regular chain of AMC, it's just AMC, and then we have AMC ADJ, and I'm only going to be looking at the AMC one for right now, and they do have strike prices going from 1 all the way up to 28. And most of the open interest on that chain currently is at an $18 strike. On puts, highest amount of volume is currently at a $13 strike. Let me record these real quick here. $18 for the calls. And on the puts, we have highest amount of volume at 13. With 15.3 thousand contracts. And we're seeing a bit of a tumble in price right now on AMC. So more than likely, Max Payne is suggesting a 450 close by the end of the week, but I think that's going to be based off of the adjusted shares. I think that's where they're pulling their numbers off of, if I had to guess. Might be a combination of the adjusted and the I don't know. I'll have to see how they're pulling their numbers. I'll have to try and figure it out. All right, give me just a second. I'm going to take you guys back to the other screen here, and we'll take a look at the rest of the data. Alrighty, so short share interest of the free float, I think was being reported last week at just under 10%, and now it's showing it at 11.05%. I was expecting to see a little bit more than that as a possibility, and I don't think that they're reporting all of the short interest as of yet. So I still think this is going to change a little bit more. I'm kind of expecting somewhere around like, I don't know, 12 to 14%, so it's a little bit off still. But let's take a look and see how they're reporting the numbers from Friday. They did report an increase in utilization from 22.26 to 57.52. The on-loan amount day over day increasing from 16.89 million to 21.44. That might actually be the right number. That's what I was expecting to kind of see, was somewhere in that ballpark at 21.44. So if that's the case, then that 11.05% short share interest of the free float's probably pretty accurate. So on loan amount increasing, but it's mainly just due to the fact that they added in the on loan amount from Ape into AMC's on loan amount. Now notice that they are only reporting 16.39 million in short interest and shares on loan at 21.44. The short interest, I don't think is, well, let's see if they've increased it at all. Hold on a second. Yeah, they didn't increase it. So they took all the on loan amounts from Ape and then simply reported them as being on loan, but they didn't add any short interest whatsoever over to AMC. So I have a feeling that when we get our next reported short interest amount, we're going to see maybe a little bit of a different reporting here. But this will decrease the estimated short share percentage down from, let's see here. Last reported value was 28.65, and now it's reporting 11.04. And then the on-loan average age per day. Now, none of this should not, I mean, this is obviously going to go down a little bit due to the fact that some of the newer positions that were created, the newer loaned shares that were created through Ape is going to drive down the average a little bit here. So it's a big drop. Went from 183.73 down to 21.45. So big change there on those numbers. And mainly the main portion for that is like, gosh, maybe like a third of all the positions were just created within the last month. So that's why it's dropped by quite a bit there. Security lending volume dipping day over day. It went from 122.45 million down to 25.04 million. VIX so far in the market this morning is showing down 1.44, showing an open around 16.93. And the rest of the market, as a result, is looking like a green open, anywhere from 0.19 to 0.36. Orders by Fidelity customers. This is only going to be the last 4-minute settlements that went through on Friday, so it's not the whole day's worth. But on those last 4 minutes, AMC did make the top 30 list here. We have a 64.95% buy to 35.05% sell ratio. Retail still seems to be buying the dip, even though the price is moving down. I know a lot of you guys are discouraged, but these numbers should be encouraging to you, to tell you that people are still holding on to their positions. More holding and more buying and holding than there is selling. SSR trigger price for the day is at $11.19. Can almost bet your bottom dollar that's going to get triggered today at some point. And then we've got no shares available to borrow. This is going to be an interesting number to see here. Currently, option data is showing 42.3 thousand contracts out of the money on the calls versus 5.4 thousand contracts that are in the money. 13.6 thousand contracts are out of the money on the puts versus 31.1 thousand contracts that are in the money. Looks like we're getting our pokey stick of volume. Let's check it out here real quick before it gets too late. Pokey stick showing up at about 83,000 shares, giving us a total of 214,000 shares so far traded for the day, which is quite a bit of volume. Let's see here. 219. It's still rising. 220. I gotta wait for this minute to play out. Okay, that's going to be the equivalent of 2.2 million shares. That would be equivalent of about 400 million shares traded in a day normally. In this particular case, it's going to be a little bit different, where we'll probably I'd have to figure on like 40 million shares traded. So 40 million shares traded. And this order book is crazy. So notice the inside and outside orders being purchased outside the bid and the ask. The order book doesn't even reflect the changes that are going on with the price. That's nuts. It had to be settled positions from yesterday. Or from Friday, I mean. Alright, so 200 and... Man, that's so much volume. 40. I'm going to go 2040 on volume for the day. Which would be the equivalent of 200 to 400 million shares, which is insane volume. Very, very insane volume. When you consider that our average 3-month volume is only 4.8 million shares with the reverse split accounted for, that is just nutty. All right, let's look at the banks, see how they're doing this morning. Pre-market movers on banks, I'm only looking for 2.75% or greater of a change. And I don't see any banks in the pre-market moving extensively this morning. US dollar is down 1.62. Did get that break a little bit beyond the box that I had here, not too much further beyond. and getting some current consolidation. But let me look at this real quick here. Okay, we are currently trending up on the U.S. dollar, but that level of support could be broken here if it comes down too much further. I'm sorry, that's Ethereum. That was Ethereum Classic that I was looking at. I'm sorry, my bad. The U.S. dollar is currently up 0.02. Let me move into a 1 minute period on this. U.S. dollar is trending up. Oil is currently not. Oh, it is trading in the pre-market up 0.25, slight trend up. SPY is up 0.21 and trending up. Tesla in the pre-market this morning is up 2.04 and trending up. Amazon is up 0.37 and trending up. Cinemark is down 2.67 and trending up. Did it trade at all this morning? No, it hasn't traded yet this morning. I take that back. They have had no trades so far in the pre-market. Doge is down 1.18 and trending up. Bitcoin is down 0.44, trending up. GME is up 0.64 and looks like it might be starting to consolidate just a little. It has been on an uptrend for a little bit though, and it hasn't quite broken the uptrend, so it could still be trending upwards. HYMC is up 2.84 and trending up. NCMI is down 0.43 and consolidating. Hood is up 0.24 and trending up. And then AMC is currently down 7.48 and obviously had a downtrend, but now starting to kind of trying to push its way back up here. Inflow versus outflow on Friday, we had approximately, let's see here, 3.7, $14 million more inflow than outflow on Friday. And so far this morning, we've had about 307,000 shares traded so far. On a 4-hour chart, we've got more selling pressure than buying pressure, with an RSI of 17.3, which is signaling oversold. On a 1-hour chart, we've got more, just slightly more buying pressure than selling pressure, with an RSI of 28.26, which is signaling oversold. On a 30-minute interval, we have more buying pressure than selling pressure, with an RSI of 32.16, which is just slightly, it's below average, but it's just slightly above signaling oversold. And on a 5-minute interval, looks like equal amounts of buying and selling pressure with an RSI of 34.91, which is below average. Taking a look at Ichimoto. Lagging line is below price line. Conversions below base. In order for us to be moving to a buy signal for the day-to-day, and this is a pretty thick red cloud ahead for the day-to-day, and I would not expect to see price moving back up and moving through any kind of clouds until moving perhaps into tomorrow. But cloud showing up with a top at around $22. Let me erase my numbers here real quick. $22.57. So let's just call it $22.75. Would be a strong buy signal. And then on a 4-hour chart, lagging line is below price line, conversions below base. What we want to do is see price moving towards a thinning portion of red cloud, which isn't really going to be the case this week based off of what I'm seeing in this cloud here. And if we were to just trade sideways where we're at right now at $10 and or $11.52, we would very likely be seeing thinning portions of this cloud here going into Monday to Tuesday of next week. But the thinning portion is right now. We have like basically today and tomorrow, maybe even Wednesday, to see a price moving up here. There is some dropping values in the cloud, but the top on Wednesday is $36. So we have to see quite a substantial move in order to get some additional buying pressure to kick in. to break the cloud today, we would have to see $43. Let me put the Bollinger Bands back up here. Lots and lots of volatility right now. We hit 1091 for a little bit there. That was our low. Let me write that down on my notes. That is a 44.3% drop in price from 1960, where we started our trend down. And that's all I got for you guys. I will open up the back of the big tramp. And anybody who wants to go back into the back of the big tramp is more than welcome to show on up. Tebow says, I haven't gotten settlement shares yet. I have not checked my broker. I had mentioned on Friday that I probably wouldn't be looking until probably tomorrow. Tomorrow's probably going to be the first day that I'll probably look at it. Dario D says, on Robinhood, on E-Trade, I have nothing. Like zero, zilch, nothing? Or you don't see any changes, or what do you mean by nothing?
Good morning.
Good morning. AMC Panda says, Fidelity never gave me my cash value of my uneven Ape shares I had after reverse split. You would probably want to inquire with them if that's the case. Hey, Sean, I'm just going to remove your message there just because I don't want to... I always try to tell people 10 shares. You could just say XXX or something like that if you want to. But I just try to stop... I try to stop the people from being targeted. So... Michael's saying, anyone got shares from Webull? I have my account open here on Webull. I do have a position held, a very small one at that, being held with Webull, and I believe I read it off to you guys last Friday, but let me just check it and see real quick here. I'm pulling it up. It's taking a hot second. Who do I got here in the back of the big trap? Rex and Pirate. Good morning.
Good morning.
This is August. Why isn't it? Oh, is it just going to show me my July? Weird. Hold on a second here. It shows, so it's showing my position. The position seems accurate. Because so what happened was that I had approximately, believe it or not, 11 shares. I had 11 shares. I had 6 of them as Ape and 5 of them as AMC, and I wanted to make sure and round that to the nearest 10, so that I would have an equal amount. So I know we don't do more than 10, but believe it or not, I did. I bought up to 20. I had 20, so I have 2 shares now that are showing up in there, and I should receive at least 1 more share from the settlement. I think I should. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I should receive 1 more share from the settlement and some change. So by the time this is all said and done, my Webull account should show a quantity of 3. So everything looks right so far to me there. Mega Johnny says he woke up horny for AMC. Frank Lehman says, "Where's Ned?" Gobennaber says, "I've received a fractional number of shares. Strange." Yeah, it is strange. However, brokers are entitled to be able to do partial shares. It depends. You shouldn't have been able to receive partial shares for the dividend. But in regards to partial amounts of shares that you got from the conversion and reverse split of AMC and Ape, you could have potentially gotten partial amounts. Bob, you're asking me math questions this early in the morning. I'm not going to give you answers. Since we're 0.01 for Q2, now that we're 1/10 the share size, if we do the same for Q3, will we be at 0.1? That seems like that's accurate. That seems accurate. I'd have to sit down and look at it. Holy smokes, man. I need to get my coffee real quick. I haven't even had coffee yet this morning, Bob. It's sitting on the coffee pot still. I'll be right back. I'm going to go grab coffee. How are you feeling this morning? About skipping?
Nothing for Casey Council.
You guys get to see Gran Turismo yet? Sorry, didn't catch that. Did you guys get the chance to go see the Gran Turismo movie yet?
My boys, my kids went to see it, I believe, before they went back to school, started college back. But no, I haven't seen it.
Same here. I haven't seen it, but well, I don't have an AMC or audio on cinema, so it doesn't really matter. I can't put money in AMC's coffers.
Dang, that coffee sat so long. I know, right? That coffee sat so long, it got super cold. I had to put it in for a minute. Holy crap. What's wrong? You couldn't entertain? Preacher, good morning to you. Rex, good morning.
Good morning.
Pirate, I'd say good morning, but you're just a dirty pirate.
Good morning, guys. Tiger. Yeah. A tiger can't change its stripes.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you too. I've never asked, just out of curiosity, how do you take your coffee? You drink it black, or what's your recipe there?
So my dad used to make fun of me. He says, "You just drink candy liquid." And
You like a little coffee with your sugar?
Yeah. So yeah. Over the years, I have managed to be able to reduce it to where I can do cream, or I can do sugar, but I can't just drink it straight up. There's just no way. I gotta have one or the other.
Well, hell, that's practically a health drink then.
But my wife and I really like this peppermint mocha coffee mate stuff, and so we pour that in there. But yeah, I just can't drink it straight black. There's just no way. I don't know how anybody can. It literally, to me, and I don't know if this is because my dad smoked when I was younger or not, but it smells like an ashtray. And that could be because his ashtrays were always by his coffee. So maybe that's why. But it smells too much like an ashtray.
You might be associating smells there, but for me, well, as an ex-smoker, I miss some bitterness in my life. Let's say so. The black coffee really helps with that.
Yeah, do you know that? And I might be completely throwing fake news at you guys, but I've heard, and I'm gonna take a stab in the dark here because I can't remember what. I think it was ragweed. I heard that they brand cattle with ragweed, and the reason that they do that is because I guess it's harmful for them to eat it while they're in the pastures, so they brand them with something that smells like ragweed. That way they don't want to eat it because they have like a bad connotation in their mind to the smell of ragweed. I think it's ragweed. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong on that. But anyways, the point that I'm trying to make here is that when I was extremely young, and I want to say, like, I don't know, my mom would have to probably tell us how old I was, but I think I was less than a year old. And I can remember it to this day. And I know people go like, there's no way you remember a memory like that from less than a year old, but I can remember this happening. We went to the beach. It may or may not have been a grunion run. I'm not sure if we lived on the West Coast, and we used to do what was called grunion runs. My mom's actually in the National Geographic in a copy where she was doing a grunion run. But we were on the beach, and my dad had a hot cup of coffee, and I did something in his lap where I moved a certain way, and it knocked the coffee and spilled all over me, and I screamed bloody murder. And that smell, the smell of his coffee, is ingrained in my mind to this day, and it smells like ashtray. I don't know why, it just is. And I will never, ever, ever forget that smell and the pain that was associated with it. So don't hold, and I promised myself when raising my kids, I said I will never, ever, ever hold a cup of coffee while I'm holding my kids. And I never spilled coffee on them, so that's good. Nick says, has Adam Aaron released any type of statement? They've released a couple different filings. Yes. And then Nick also asked, how can you see this going forward? That's how I see this going. Frank Lehman said, "Isn't ragweed what killed all the cattle with on Yellowstone?" It's possible. I mean, I think that's probably why they were branding them with it. T-Boo, that's not what he said. T-Boo, are you? I feel like you're not being fully honest around here. That is not what he said at all. Yeah. I'm a hair width away from making sure that you don't have a voice in here.
Most of them are dispatched very quickly. It's almost a competition to see who can draw first blood on some of the sillier commenters. But sometimes we like to keep one around just to kind of smack around, much like a mouse and a cat.
Yeah. Zhang says, any predictions this morning? I usually do price predictions just 15 minutes before market opens. Not meant as financial advice, but just to kind of keep myself sharp on where I think price is moving to. I think for me, I will probably be targeting a price prediction of somewhere between 10 and 13 for the day today. But it all kind of depends on how the market's looking going forward. So I'll probably take a look at a few different factors and then make a final decision 15 minutes before market opens. AMC Squatcher says, wasn't it clover? See, I don't know what it was. I really can't remember. I just know that I know there was some kind of weed that they use that when they brand the animals, they brand them with that specific weed so that they don't eat it. I can't remember if I don't know. I can't remember. Let's see. I guess we should look it up.
I can tell you that increasingly branding in itself is almost becoming a thing of the past. More often than not, they use an ear tag, much like an earring, that has a number in it. Some are moving to RFID chips, so as the cattle are moved through a processing chute, it's just much like a dog has a chip in it. And then also they have a process where the branding is called cold branding, where they use liquid nitrogen.
Yep, that's what I'm reading right now.
300 degrees below zero, and it still burns because it's super cold, and it eliminates the need to keep a fire and all that. But only your real big operators out west that still operate in the traditional ways are the ones. They're the ones who predominantly use the branding. More often than not, it's the ear tag method or the new implant.
Well, when I started to type it in, I started to type it in to see if I could find out what it was. The one for Yellowstone County it's being called Death Camas, C-A-M-A-S, Camas. I'm sure there's a more official name for it. I actually saw something in here about hemp related feed for cattle. I was like, wow. Good morning, hon.
Cattle can perish from overindulging in alfalfa, things of that nature, but it's not because it's poisonous. It's because it creates bloat and it's
That's what it is.
too hot for them.
Alfalfa?
But it's not alfalfa. I've had cattle in the past who got too much. Who what happens is air gets trapped, and believe it or not, one of the remedies for them is when they're on their side, you take a knife and literally puncture their side and relieve the air.
Yeah.
It's not for the faint of heart, but if not, she suffocates because she swells up so big she can't even draw a breath. And there's another way you can intubate them by pushing a hose down their throat all the way down and alleviate the gas that way. But a lot of old timers just take their pocket knife and literally punch a hole in the side of the cow.
Yeah. Good Old Boys Barbershop says, Casey, any thoughts on my last post? I'm guessing he's talking about in Discord. Let me see here. So it should have been 1 for every 7.5 shares that you had prior to the reverse split. So whatever you had in AMC shares on Thursday, if you took that number and divided by 7.5, that's what you would have gotten. If you took your AMC shares from Wednesday of last week, divided by 10, divided by 7.5, that's what you would get. A lot of people are wondering what just happened there with price, and I've been seeing quite a few of these orders that are going through that are out of the price range of what's actually showing up on the order book. And the only thing I can suggest is that those are probably off-exchange settlements that are occurring and are not actually changing the price once the orders are continuing to trade through the order book. So the order book is not reflecting those price changes. But it just looks like settlements that are going through, older settlements. Apex, it sounds good, man. I'm going to probably wait a little bit before this morning on guessing as well. Jay says it's break time. Oh, your comment on here? Let's see here. Just got my dividend. No, that's yeah. Okay, I was looking at. I went to the Discord and found the same comment. So yeah. You're welcome. But don't take whatever you do, good old boys. Don't take your AMC position that you currently have and divide by 7.5 because that's going to have Ape shares mixed in with it, provided that you had Ape shares. So it's not going to be, if you try to take your current AMC shares, divide by 7.5, you're not going to get the correct value. So you really need to know what you held prior to the reverse split or after the reverse split of AMC, but before the conversion on Friday. MCon's asking you if it was cows.
Yeah, I don't need to consult the internet. I've had hundreds, literally hundreds of cattle, and I've had a few that I've had issues. It's not technically poisonous. In fact, you can use alfalfa cubes to as a treat. I mean, we had our bull frequently. Mrs. Pirate would let him have a little alfalfa cube, and and they just love it. It's like crack. But it is true, if they overindulge, it does lead to bloat. But it's not the same as poisoning. But there are a great many poisonous plants, nightshade and hemlock. There's a great deal of plants that are poisonous, but cows know which ones not to eat, and they'll leave them stand in the pasture.
I had a
see things like alfalfa and clover, they fix nitrogen. So a lot of plants deplete nitrogen from the ground. So you either have to buy nitrogen supplements, which are expensive, or you can plant some alfalfa and clovers in areas, and then the nodules in the roots will fix nitrogen. So that's why they rotate soybeans out for corn, because of a similar interaction with the soil. But no, they're right. Cows that get into, for instance, if they were to find find a whole bag of alfalfa cubes and eat them, it would be a bad thing. But there's a remedy for it if you're around, but it's not technically poisonous.
I had a one of my grandmother was married quite a few times, and but one of my grandpas was a cattle rancher, and he was actually the last man that she was married to, and he had horses and cattle, and he said one of the things I remember him telling me, he says, you're not a real man until you own cattle and you've had to stab one of your cows to debloat it. Or
absolutely.
Actually, I think he may have said that about a horse. No, I think he said that about a horse. Never mind.
Horses can founder as well. I've never had horses, but there's a similar thing that happens to horses as well.
Yeah, but I'm not a real man because I've never had to do that or owned a horse, so I have no idea what he's talking about. But apparently that's especially, I guess, for somebody who is a rancher type person, that your horse is a very valued thing, and to have to stab it to save its life is, I guess, pretty tough to do. I guess I don't know. I've never owned a horse, so I don't know.
Anyhow. She's going to die anyhow. So even if your efforts are in vain, you did no harm, because at that point her fate is set. You might find it interesting. They have another thing they deal with called hardware disease, and as cows graze, not so much in the big giant ranches, but in small family farms, they typically eat things like screws and bolts and nails, pieces of barbed wire, and obviously that's not good for the cattle. And you might find it humorous that the remedy for that is they feed them a magnet. You feed the cow a rather large magnet, and that magnet collects all that metal in their stomach.
How odd.
There's a great deal of work that goes along with being a cattle rancher. You have to wear many hats, everything from a veterinarian to a scientist to a mechanical engineer. It's the term just a simple farmer is pretty misleading.
All right, I think I'm gonna head to break. Let's see here. Let me put up Tebow, in regards to you posting up exactly what's being said in there. Just I don't mind you posting anything up that's from a document, but don't just cut and paste like just a specific portion without having context to it. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't just pick and choose the words you're going to post and without showing the pretext to what's being said or to the after portion of it. So, you need to make sure you're putting in the entirety of everything. Don't just cherry pick little sentences out or partial portions of a sentence out, 'cause that's not right. That's misleading. All right, I am going to head to break. Let me I think that's Jenna. It's hard to tell. Jenna says, "Thank you for recognizing that about farmers." Absolutely. I mean, the crazy thing here is that we have AMC Squatcher says it's turned into a Farmers Weekly podcast, and it's actually we've got so many people from so many different backgrounds that I think it's fascinating to learn about different jobs that people do. We've had all kinds of people from airline pilots to doctors to farmers to nurses to we changed the name from mill person to letter engineering letter deliver engineer. I forget what we called it. We call it something funny, but we've had a very wide range of people who have different living, make a different living through different jobs, and it's really kind of fascinating to learn new things through each one of those. And so
it's great.
Yeah,
we are worldwide. We are worldwide, and our education or experiences are just as diverse, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, I think it's great. I love learning about all those different things, and I think it's awesome. So I won't stop because that's part of our history. So thanks for sharing. I appreciate that. Z-Wade
Don't forget our veterans.
Veterans, right? Yep, veterans. Absolutely. Z-Wade said strippers.
Sure. No, absolutely. We can't leave the entertainment girls out. Yeah.
All people equal, man. That's the whole point between why we're called apes in the first place. Nobody's better or worse than the next. Alrighty, I'm gonna exit out of the back of the Big Tramp and put the message back up on the screen here. See you guys in a little bit later. Let me put the message up and then give you guys a little bit of music. I'm going to probably hold off on a price prediction until market open or 15 minutes before market open, just because today's going to be a difficult one to guess, I think. So I'm going to reserve the right to just wait till that last 15 minutes. Normally, I know I kind of like to put in a prediction a little bit earlier if I can. Today's going to be a unique day, so I'm going to watch what happens between now and next 35 minutes. So I'll see you guys back in a little bit.
Liftoff of mission 41B, the first flight of the orbital Discovery, and the shuttle has cleared the tower. Discovery's core computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
All right, I'm back, and I'm just checking out to see here a little bit as to where I think potentially the market could be heading. There's in my opinion, I think there's a little bit of enough evidence here to suggest that we're breaking into a period of time where we may see the VIX drop somewhere between 1450 and 1470, which would, I ran the numbers real quick here. That would be from its current value at 15,780. I actually use 1582 as the number from 1582 down to 1460 would be about a 7.7% drop in the VIX. And that would be equivalent to maybe about 2%, 1.5 to 2% increase on the SPY, perhaps. Kind of roughly guesstimating. So we're looking at an up day, more than likely. And this should break. If this break, it looks like it's breaking through this trend line. It's not moving very quickly yet, but I think there's a good chance here that this does start moving pretty quickly at market open. Let's take a look at the SPY real fast and just see where that's at. SPY up. Actually, let me go back to something else here real quick. 1582. I don't know what previous close on SPY was. It doesn't say. Previous close. A little bit lower. I still think that 1450 is where we're heading towards. Maybe the SPY closes up today around 443, 444. It's already at 442. What would be a 1.5% gain? Let me see here real quick. Give me 1 second. 440. Let's call it 6 points up. 445. 446. I think we could see. I think we could potentially see the SPY closing around like 445 to 446 today. I think that is possible. I know that there was a lot. I know. Let's take a look at one more thing here. Bitcoin's still kind of trending the same way. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 1075 to 1375 on the price prediction for the day today. Oops. Let's see what Apex is putting in here. Apex has 1251 close today, going 1101 to 1401. Putting you down, sir. I got you down. Thank you very much. The Rui Life says, Casey, can you please play something from Green Day? Yeah, I can. Not today. I already got my today's song picked out. But we can certainly do that going into the future here. Paul saying 30%. Well, Paul, it sounds like you're. It sounds to me like you're signing up for our blank spot on price predictions. It sounds like you want to be our next lucky victim. No. Oh, you wanna make fun of the 30% spread, but you're not willing to give a price prediction, huh? I love the courage. so much courage there, Paul. Come on, step up to the plate. Musical Companion said Green Day, question mark. It's difficult to say. I am expecting to see very similar volume to what we had from last week on Friday, which was about 23.9. Actually, is that right? Hold on a second. Let me just make sure. Yeah, that's right. 23.9 million shares is what we had last week. I think we'll have on Friday. I think we'll have very similar, maybe slightly more volume. Actually, based off the prediction that I gave this morning, I was kind of anticipating to see something closer to the 40 range, but I'm really kind of leaning more towards, I don't know. I think the 20 to 40 million spread on the volume prediction for the day to day is pretty fair. Whether it comes in low or it comes in high, I think it should be a pretty good guesstimate. Although I will say, Ivan thinks that the volume prediction for the day is going to be way off. So we'll see. I'd rather be on the low side than the high side. So I think 2040 is a very fair prediction. And that does seem to, in terms of like how much volume that would have been compared to when we had no reverse split, that would have been the equivalent of like somewhere between 200 and 400 million shares traded in a single day. So it's quite a lot of volume, all things considered. Paul says should go up with dilution today. Well, I mean, number one, you're assuming that there's dilution going on today. Number two, the shares that are being given out as a dividend may act as a form of, I mean, if you think about how the market would price it in, and how it affects market cap. Price times outstanding shares. If outstanding shares increases, then they would have to lower price in order to keep the same market cap from last Friday. So if they're pricing in a market cap, and I have these numbers written down here, give me 1 second, I'll tell you. If they have a market cap priced in at around 1.902 billion, then it's possible with, let me see here. It's possible that they would probably shoot for like a 1038 price point, if I had to guess, somewhere around there to try and keep the same kind of market cap. Actually, hold on a second. That's too low. That's way too low. Like $11 maybe. Like 1080. So they might be pricing in 1080, but that's it's pretty big drop with the dilution. If it does occur, if it does start occurring today, then I would initially expect to see price starting to move down. Ned Clapping Hedge Cheek says, my TA is calculating up, halt with some down and sideways in between. I mean, that sounds very typical for a normal trading day for us, right? Other than the halts. We usually see either up or down movement in the beginning portion of the day with a little bit of sideways, followed by some more up or down movement towards the end of the day. That's pretty typical. The first thing that they're going to try to do is reduce the amount of volume that's trading through the market. And the way you do that is you simply, after the initial market price movement from, I don't know, like first hour and a half or so of trading, that's when they typically will try to run price sideways while they decrease volatility and reduce volume, and then trade sideways until later portion of the day. Thanks, Paul. I appreciate it. I didn't need to. You don't have to boost me up. It's no problem. But yeah, I mean, I was just giving you a hard time. But that's what I usually give myself and everybody else who does the price predictions. We do $3, plus or minus $3. I did turn on slow mode. We broke past 500 people, so I just want to make sure I put it slow mode back on here for, it's only 10 seconds. It's not that bad. You don't have to wait forever. I'm figuring we should probably do like 10 seconds for every 500. We'll see how that works out. I still have the 48-hour subscription, and I apologize for having it be that long, but until today's over, I'm probably going to keep that up there. But it is time to get this day started, so I will see you guys on the other side of market open.
T-minus 90 seconds and counting. All systems are go. We're about 90 seconds from the launch of Space Shuttle Discovery. T-minus 60 seconds and counting. We are transferring to orbiter internal power at this time. Discovery is now running off its 3 onboard fuel cells. Coming up on a go for auto sequence start. And we have a go for auto sequence start. Discovery's onboard computers have primary control of all the vehicle's critical functions. T-minus 17 seconds and counting. 15, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, start, 2, 1, booster ignition, and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Discovery, returning to the space station, paving the way for future missions beyond. Discovery's onboard computers commanding the main engine nozzles to swivel, aiming the shuttle for its precise target in space for main engine cutoff.
Should have a good forward leg now and you sound good. Discovery Houston, negative return. Copy, a negative return.
Everybody's losing their mind on the same old radio. We got nowhere to be, nowhere to go. All you gotta do is relax and take it slow. gave me